This is the Mountaineer Moment, your source for all things West Virginia football and basketball. From pregame to postgame coverage and breaking news, we've got you covered. Let's go. Welcome to another episode of Mountaineer Moment. I am your host, Troy, here covering West Virginia football and basketball. Brand new podcast, and so if you're new, chances are you are. Make sure to subscribe, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're available on all of those platforms, and we're releasing content like crazy right now. So lots of episodes coming your way with preview to matchups for the Mountaineer football team, and then post-game analysis as well. And Mountaineers are gearing up right now for a Week 3 matchup with the Pitt Panthers and the 108th edition of the Backyard Brawl, and we're set for Saturday. Coming into Saturday beat up, obviously. Last episode talked about Jaheim White and his injury and losing your star player, star running back, focal point of the offense, done for the season after a knee injury with the, I think I said last episode, a not-so-form tackle from the Ohio defender who got penalized for a horse collar tackle and a face mask all in one. Never seen that before. And he got penalized for both, and Jaheim suffered the blow with a knee injury, season ending. I hate to see that, obviously, for Jaheim. And if you didn't catch that episode, you can check out the previous one as we talk about the Jaheim situation and his injury. This fact that this running back room now, there's lots of question marks there on who's going to step up and perform. And then, obviously, too, with that, Mountaineers got beat up in the wide receiver room. Jaden Bray, starting wide out, who wrestled with injuries last season, is also out for the season with a foot injury. And so the hits keep on coming. Last episode, we titled from bad to worse. Saturday was bad enough, and now you get this news, and not so pleasant, not so good as we gear up for Saturday. But show must go on. As a football team, right, you have to turn the page to the next matchup, and that just so happens to be, for the Mountaineers in Week 3, the Backyard Brawl. Right, one of the greatest rivalries in the sport. This is their fourth year playing in a row consecutively, the Backyard Brawl. There's going to be a little break after this one, so it'd be nice for the Mountaineers to go out on a win in this series. So far in this 4-game series over the last 3 years, the home team has won. So Pitt won back in 2022. JT Daniels was the starting quarterback for the Mountaineers in that one. You remember Bryce Ford Wheaton had the ball go through his hands. Pitt returns it for a touchdown, and Mountaineers could not recover. Close game in that one, but Pitt takes care of business at home. 2023, you remember Garrett Green, starting quarterback for the Mountaineers, goes down early, first or second drive for the Mountaineers, and Nico Marchiol comes in, manages the game, doesn't pass for a whole lot of yards, like 60 yards. Mountaineer defense stepped up quite a bit. Beanie Bishop, shout out to him for that was the official start to his All-American campaign for him in that matchup with Pitt. And Mountaineers took care of business. And then last year, Mountaineers had a 10-point lead late in the fourth quarter and couldn't get it done. 2nd and 30. The Pitt was facing down 10. They kind of 45-yard pass for a touchdown, and then they 3-and-out, I think. West Virginia, Pitt gets the ball back. They score again, and Mountaineers got the ball back with like a minute left, couldn't do anything, and lost the game. So Mountaineers had one in their grasp last year at Pitt. Leaves a sour taste in your mouth if you're a fan. But these players, not many of them know about that one because there's 81 new guys on this roster for the Mountaineers, all new coaching staff as well. But here we are, 2025, 108th Backyard Brawl. And on this episode, we're just going to give you 4 things to watch for in this upcoming matchup. Later on this week, we'll give an official game preview, talk about some other things related to this matchup and the countdown to kickoff. But I'm just going to give you 4 things to watch for in this one. And again, coming down the week, we'll give you 3 keys to victory for the Mountaineers. But 4 things to watch for, and I want to start with the quote from Rich Rodriguez: whether you win or lose, after 24 hours, you have got to move on. And that's the case for the Mountaineers in a big way, in a big fashion, coming out of the nightmare loss to Ohio, right? You hope that you can forget that one, but at the same time, you kind of hope that you can remember what happened and correct those mistakes and get it right as you head into the backyard brawl. Again, one of the most talked about, one of the most heated, certainly, rivalries in all of college football. At home, Rich Rodriguez is back. I mean, you set the scene, even though you're coming off of what you came off of in week 2 against Ohio. I mean, this should be a good atmosphere. Should be a fun one, and hopefully the Mountaineers can get the job done. Obviously, there's do I want to say a little less confidence? Yeah, that's fair. A little less confidence in this one as you head into the brawl because of what transpired a couple days ago. But you got to move on. You got to move on. And now you're without Jaheim White. Now you're without Jaden Bray. But it's the backyard brawl. And what could, I don't even want to say make up for, but what could make you feel a little bit better is a win against Pitt in week 3. Simple as that. So here's 4 things to watch for. Number 1 is just in relation to this hard edge mentality that Rich Rodriguez, likes to build within his cultures wherever he coaches. And are we gonna see a hard edge from this team on the field? And what I mean by that is, again, as a coach who preaches physical toughness and mental toughness and being stronger and faster and just fit and mentally prepared more than your opponent. You have a hard edge to you. You play hard, you play nasty, you play physical. Like, we sure didn't see that in week 2 against Ohio. They were outgained. Ohio dominated time of possession. Ohio dominated the trenches. Ohio quarterbacks played better. Their receivers played better. Their running backs played better. Their defense, their defense may not have played better because Mountaineers, despite giving up 17 in the first half, they pitched the shutout in the second half. But are we going to see a hard edge from the Mountaineers against Pitt? Because that's what you want to see. And another element or another facet of this whole thing with having a hard edge is okay, Jaheim White, he's hurt. He's done for the season. That sucks. Who's going to step up? Who's going to show the mental toughness? Who's going to show, I can come out here and I can contribute? Because there are, 4, 5, 6 guys, right, who want reps at running back now that Jaheim is out of the picture, but what is that really going to look like? You got Sincere Bowers, you got Clay Ash, you got Ty Edwards, you got Dior Hubbard. Someone needs to step up and play with the hard edge, right, that Rich Rod preaches. Maybe all 4 of them, right? None of these guys are going to match. Not one singular player is going to just all of a sudden match the production you were going to look for from Jaheim White all season. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But who is going to want it more? Who's going to want their reps? Who's going to earn the reps that they get on the field and play with the hard edge? I think that's part of this conversation. Then I think just the team as a whole, you just got punched in the mouth. You're a little bit of a laughingstock in the Big 12 in college football right now. Pitt fans are certainly laughing at you. Do you care? Are you going to let that just drive you to whatever? Or are you going to allow that to drive you to get better, play harder, play smarter, and try and win this football game? Because right now you embarrassed yourselves and it was bad, and you got to come out and play with this hard edge that your coach wants you to play with, period. That's number 1. Number 2, all the bad news aside, Mountaineers did get some good news on Monday following the loss to Ohio. Jimmori Robinson and his back and forth battle for eligibility now looks as if he is able to play, and he will likely be playing against Pitt this weekend. So I mean, he was Conference Player of the Year in the AAC last year, Defensive Player of the Year, and he's obviously capable of bringing an impact to every time he touches the field for the Mountaineers this season. The biggest kind of question I would have with that is like, okay, is he ready? Is he in game shape? Yeah, I mean, how much does he really practice? What's he really doing? Is he, where's he at? And so that's number two. The number 2 point here is look out and watch for the impact that Jimmori Robinson has in this matchup with Pitt. Right? When they say he's eligible to play and he's going to play, does that mean he's going to get 6 snaps? Is he going to get 50 snaps? Right? Like how much is he going to be on the field? How much can he be on the field on his own condition and just knowledge within the defensive schemes and that? But keep an eye on him. The more that he's on the field, the more of a difference that he can make. And he's a difference maker. He's a game changer. Happy to have Jimmori Robinson potentially playing against Pitt this weekend. So keep an eye on that. Number 3, and it's amazing that we've gone this far into the episode without addressing this, is the West Virginia offensive line. That's probably the number 1 concern that people, at least that I'm seeing and hearing, are having coming out of the Ohio matchup. Mountaineer offensive line was just bad. The PFF grades, I wrote an article on that. I mean, they all were bad. And Mountaineers didn't waver from who was out there on the offensive line. It was the same guys all game long, which raises some eyebrows, right? Why not mix it up? Because they weren't playing well? Or are you that much more confident in the 5 guys you put out there than you are the guys that could give them a break? So a little bit puzzling there, but keep an eye on the offensive line. And the number 1 thing I think to look for is, will Rich Rodriguez mix it up a little bit? Will there be some new guys to see the field and get action and get reps and see what they can do? And then the second thing to watch for is just, well, maybe this is first. Are they going to improve from week 2 to week 3? Because if they don't, Mountaineers will not win this game. Just won't. Offense was so bad against Ohio. And now you don't have your star running back, so the hole's got to be even bigger, right? And the protection has to be even cleaner and better. And the offense was just that bad. It was, again, I don't have numbers to back this up, but it as a Mountaineer fan for a long time, it was pretty bad, like historically. Like that was frustrating. You forced 3 turnovers in the second half as a defense. You get the ball around midfield 3 times and you do 3 3-and-outs. All you got to do is go get a touchdown to tie the game, and you can't do it. Ugly, bad, pitiful, disaster. How will West Virginia's offensive line respond? Again, part of that hard edge thing as well. Because if you come out and do anything like you did last week, you're going to get steamrolled by Pitt. As much as that pains me to say, offensive line just has to perform better if you have any chance. And let's be honest, it'd be hard for them to perform worse. So we'll find out. Offensive line, got to do your part, got to be better. Number 4, and lastly, last but not least, look out for the defensive backs of West Virginia against this Pitt quarterback, Eli Holstein. Holstein is off to a great start in his 2025 campaign. Completing over 70% of his passes, has 519 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions through his first 2 games. He's thrown 4 touchdowns and a pick in each of those games. Last year in the backyard brawl, I get it, totally different West Virginia defense, but he had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in that comeback win a season ago. And Pitt's been dominant in their first 2 games of the season, 61-9 over Duquesne of the FCS, and then a 45-17 win over Central Michigan. So they're racking up points offensively, and they're doing much of that through the air with Holstein and his arm. And again, while the primary concern that everybody's seeing and everybody's writing about and everybody's talking about is rooted in this West Virginia offense and their inability to do anything, it's not even right to say that the defense had their fair share of struggles, because it wasn't their fair share. The defense played well enough to win, but there were moments when the defense was frustrating, especially in the first half, right? I mean, you had 3 picks in the second half. You shut them out. Pretty good. You'll take that every time. But there were some wide open receivers a few times. There were some breakdowns in coverage. There were some guys getting lost. There were 2 defensive pass interferences by Darian Lewis, who ended up getting a pick on one of those drives. But Parker Navarro of Ohio, I don't know if this is like entirely true for myself, but like, yeah, he had one of the better games you'll ever see from a quarterback who threw 3 picks. He had 247 yards. He completed 71% of his passes, meaning if it wasn't getting picked, it was getting caught by an offensive player just about. And he also led the way with his legs, 87 yards on 18 carries for Navarro. So he was a problem all day and had a solid game for a guy that threw 3 picks. So is that, we apply that to Pitt of the ACC. Now you're playing a power conference opponent. Now you're playing a quarterback who's playing well to start the season, who's throwing for a lot of yards, and they're scoring a lot of points. This Mountaineer secondary has some things to clean up, right? And let's not forget, like, it's not just the offense, and let's not just sit back and celebrate those 3 interceptions. One of those was on a 4th down. Like, it was either to throw a pick and you're going to get a turnover on downs. One if not 2 of the others was just, a bonehead play from Navarro, and quarterbacks have those, but you can't rely on that. So as box score-wise, as good as this defense may have looked with 3 picks and a second-half shutout, there's still some things to work on. And the other thing to watch, now this is kind of just a bonus, right? Again, this is specifically on the Pitt offense and Eli Holstein, but, Desmond Reed, the Pitt running back, has... it's not even right to say that he's had a quiet season. He has, I think, 100 yards through his first 2 games, but just 1 touchdown for him, and just 18 carries. This is a guy who had almost 1,000 yards last season, had just 112 through 2 games and a touchdown. Look for Pitt to get him involved a little bit more. We'll talk about that more in future episodes, but look for him to get involved in the run game, to get involved. But the matchup to watch, I think, is Eli Holstein against this West Virginia secondary. Can we pick them off like we did Parker, and then obviously is the offense going to do their job? Or is Holstein going to make us look silly in the defensive backfield? So keep an eye on that. And again, keep an eye on more episodes coming your way as we count down to kickoff for the 2025 108th edition of the Backyard Brawl. This is Mountaineer Moment. My name is Troy, and you can find us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and we would love for you to subscribe to just be in the know when we have new content coming. Countdown to kickoff is on. We're turning the page to the Backyard Brawl, and we hope you will do it with us as well. We'll see you next time on Mountaineer Moment.